Well,
Spend all this money on.
what happened years ago, there was a referendum to do some work down at the plant. I think it was for $9 or $10 million. We only ended up doing 3. So it really wasn't complete enough. So now we end up being in kind of the situation that you're describing now. So when you go in a referendum, we want to be able to give our taxpayers an option, a number of options, okay? But what you're talking about is very real, because if that happens, now we have to go make an emergency repair, and we have to add another assessment on it because it's an emergency. And so I think it's a salient point, but we wanted to make sure that we got the question number 2 that addressed the items that are so critical they'll keep us in, without them, we will not be in compliance and we'll face serious fines. And we might even be mandated by DEP to do it anyway. I think they can come in and do that, can't they?
Yes,
They can
especially Roosevelt.
an enforcement action.
Roosevelt, right.
So I think it's a good question. I think it's a good point.
Yeah. Just touched upon the point that I was going to ask the question. The taxpayers vote no for all 3 questions. Explain to them why it's best to use bond money than wait for DEP to mandate certain.
Well, first of all, bond money, and we're planning this over a long period of time, 20-year payback, and Keith is very, very good at this as well. But bond money is very cheap right now, and so if we plan it over a long period of time, and we're pulling on a bond that we have a fixed rate with, and our taxpayers get that benefit of that much, much lower rate. If we have an emergency repair and we have to go out and just suddenly borrow money, then we're going to be paying a premium. And now you're going to be assessed a higher rate. So I think that's the benefit of that. Did I answer your question? The other thing is that these guys know about enforcement action. If we had an enforcement action, actually I was told this when we met with bond counsel from the state a few weeks ago on the language of the questions and so forth. He was talking about, he was up in Deep River, actually it was, and they voted, someone got up at the meeting and said, well, we're just going to vote to stop. I've just had an attitude, I guess, and you know what, we're all frustrated. Well, I share your frustration. I'm a taxpayer, a lifelong resident of Derby, so I share your frustration and the pain. So they were just kind of getting a very defiant attitude. So the guy from DEP said, well, we're just going to place an enforcement action on you. You're not going to have a choice. So we can have a choice of doing this over a long period of time in a controlled way and finally getting this under control, or we can operate in a crisis mode. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is to do this in a controlled way, take control of our own destiny, so to speak. Yes?